Like that crap. La, 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 la. According to Statistica.com, 10 years ago, 34% of Americans used social media. Today, that number is 79% use social media. Just think about that statistic for 1 second. That means only 1 in 5 people you know today don't use any of the social media platforms on a daily basis. Hello, my name is Dylan Benson. Thank you for being here. Social media platforms, specifically the large corporations such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, have recently been accused of silencing people based on their personal beliefs. Therefore, many of these companies protect their reasoning behind these decisions too. These companies are public forums, therefore they must protect free speech for all. They also cannot silence speech due to the Supreme Court's ruling on internet free speech. And the worst of all, it prevents people from hearing both sides of an argument and thus failing to formulate their own opinion. In order to make these large companies change their rules of conduct, we must leave the platforms in order to force them to change their ways. We have a problem on our hands with these companies, and it will only get worse as time goes on, unless we do something about it. A public forum, as defined by the Webster's Dictionary, means a place that has a long-standing tradition of being used to exercise speech. By this definition, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, etc., would all be considered public forums. You probably know a lot of people, including yourself, who communicate with others on social media every single day. It's a privilege to have a utility like that that allows you to talk to almost anyone in the world in a matter of seconds. They want to allow people to express their voices and opinions in a way that was unimaginable just a few decades ago. But there is a limit to what you can and can't say. The only form of speech that U.S. law prohibits is that which intends to incite violence. This stays illegal on social media as well. If these social media platforms were not public forums, although only employees of the platform itself could post comments on this forum. Michelle Lee from the Campbell Barnett Law Office confirmed this to me by saying that the First Amendment rights do apply to social media as well. So thank you, Michelle. Free speech of any kind should be protected by U.S. law on social media platforms. According to the book, The Adversary First Amendment, Free Expression and the Foundation of American Democracy, the United States Supreme Court ruled in 1996, the case Reno versus ACLU, that internet communications, similar to newspaper publishing, which has historically enjoyed broad First Amendment protections, enjoy First Amendment protections as well, meaning that the government cannot censor speech as a whole on the World Wide Web. This case could reach out to cover social media censorship. The First Amendment covers any kind of speech that doesn't directly incite violence, but the law isn't exactly specific on this. It is different for private corporations. They can regulate speech all they want to an extent on their cyberspaces. But that doesn't mean they should. To get the most consumers to come to your platform, you want to make speech as open and fair as possible. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem they do. Twitter and Facebook continue to heavily regulate speech on their platforms. According to Facebook.com's terms of service, and the CEO Mark Zuckerberg himself said in front of Congress, the company justifies their banning and regulation of content and users on their platforms as a way to combat misinformation and stop the spread of conspiracy theories. This is not only wrong, but counterintuitive itself. Silencing the voices of opposition to an argument prevents people on the platform from hearing that counter-argument at all. The best way to allow people to make their own opinions is to let them hear the pros and cons of an idea and let them come to their own conclusion based on their personal beliefs. Forcing some to believe in one philosophy is dangerous for society and can lead to an increase in misinformation, not less, especially for a large number of young users on the site. Although these large companies seem impossible to topple, it is closer to reality than it sounds. One way to influence a social media company, or any company for that matter, to change its motives is to stop buying their product in the first place. If people feel there is a problem with social media today, they need to stop using the utility. There are plenty of other sites that allow you to speak openly to other users about whatever you want. One in particular is Gab.com, a media site that is championing free speech right now. With reduced users on the platform with large restrictions on speech, advertisers will pull out of the deals and the company would lose money. They would have no other choice but to bend to their consumers' demands. Social media plays a big part in our lives today. Seems like in each passing day we become increasingly addicted to our phones and tablets. And that means that face-to-face communication is becoming less common. Our speech is regulated now more than ever with these big tech companies, and we need to do something about it. Its importance is needed more than ever. Humans need to put down the tablets and talk directly to each other before it's too late. These platforms are public forums and are protected by the First Amendment. No one should be forced into an ideology like big tech wants. There is a way to stop this. It can only be done if everyone is involved. Thank you.